Hello, welcome to another video of Acharya Nidana Academy. In this particular video, we are going to discuss the concept of Vyadhi Hetu. So, first of all, whenever if you look into the concept as such, we need to know about why we need to know about those aspects. So, any of the concept, why we need to know about it. In the sense, first of all, if we look into the concept of Nidana, why application of Nidana is essential, knowledge of Nidana is essential, what is the purpose as such, to know about the exact pathology happening inside the body. Suppose if the person is having the entry of the pathogen through the nose, maybe in the form of dust particle or maybe in the form of the pores, droplets. So the pathology that will be observed in the respiratory passage itself. Suppose if the person is if the source of the entry is happening in the ears, the symptoms may be observed in the ears. And if the person is having the entry of the pathogen in the eyes, the initially this pathological event that can happen in the eyes in the form of the redness or the itching around the eyes, etc. That means to know the exact pathology happening inside the body, that can be applied learned by knowing the Nidana to predict the prognosis of the disease process. In the sense, so more the number of the pathogens, the severe will be the disease manifestation. So in the sense, if the suppose when you look into the two examples, 10 pathogens, 10 number of pathogens, whereas 100 number of pathogens, 1000 number of pathogens is 1000. In the sense, if the in case of the 10 the pathogens, if they are 10 in number, the disease manifestation will be milder. 100 pathogens entry into the body, which may produce the moderate pathogenesis as such. When you compare the severe, you say that the number of pathogens are 1000 in number, where the disease may be even much more severe. So that means when you give the treatment, if the pathogens are 10 in number, that may require milder form of treatment, whereas 100 number of pathogens, they are entering into the body, which may require somewhat severe form of somewhat intense treatment when you compare the milder form of the source of the entry of pathogens. In case of the 1000 number of the pathogens are 1000, then we require even intense line of treatment. So that means thereby we can able to predict the prognosis of the disease. So that means the disease may be curable. To plan the line of treatment, so in that means, suppose if the pathogens are entering into the alimentary canal, as per the Ayurveda, the elimination will be taking place through the alimentary canal, either through the oral route or through the rectal route. Suppose if the entry of pathogens are happening in the skin, maybe a trauma has happened. In that particular situation, the entry of the pathogens may be, so initially you can look into the area where the injury has happened. If the injury is widespread, then we have to bring those pathogens into the alimentary canal, then that has to going to get eliminated via either the oral route or rectal route. So that means to plan the line of treatment as such, that can be one of the main significance of knowing the Nidana. To predict the progress of treatment, so that means how far the person is getting the improvement, that can be predicted. This is about the significance of knowing the Nidana as such. As far as types of Nidana, it's a repetition. The Madhukosha Madhava Nidana first chapter says 4 types of the Nidana: Sannikrishta, Viprakrishta, Vyabhichari and Pradhanika. 3 types of the Nidana: Asatmendriyartha Sanyoga, Prajnaparada and Parinama. 3 types of the Nidana: Dosha Hetu, Vyadhi Hetu and Ubhaya Hetu. 2 types of the Nidana: Utpadaka Hetu and Vyanjaka Hetu. 2 types of the Nidana: Abhyantara Hetu and Bakhya Hetu. So regarding the further sub classification of the Abhyantara Hetu, that is 3 types: urdhva, adha, tiryak. Three types of the Nidana: Shakha, Koshtha, Marmasti Sandhi. Three types of the Nidana: Vriddhi, Sthana, Kshaya. Three types of the Nidana: Chaya, Prakopa and Prashama. Two types of the Nidana: Prakrita and Vaikrita. Two types of the Nidana: Sama and Nirama. And one type of the Nidana, that is Ashayapakarsha. When you look into the classification, they are having their own significance. So, as far as the diagnosis is concerned, as far as the prognosis is concerned, as far as the line of treatment is concerned. So, we are going to learn those significance as and when we are going to discuss about these these types of the Nidana as such. So far, we have discussed the four types of the Nidana: Sannikrishta, Viprakrishta, Vyabhichari and Pradhanika. Three types of the Nidana we have discussed: Asatmi, Indriyata, Sanyoga and Prajnaparadha and Parinama. And Dosha Hetu we have discussed so far. If you want to have the detailed description, go into my previous videos so that we can get the overall idea what may be the how to understand those concepts. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about the Vyadhi Hetu. So Vyadhi Hetu is a type of the Hetu which is mentioned by Madhukosha commentary, Madhava Nidana first chapter 5th shloka. So that is Dosha Hetu, Vyadhi Hetu and Ubhaya Hetu. Among these, if you want to know about the Vyadhi Hetu, first of all you need to know about the 6 stages of Kriya Kala. That is Sanchayam cha prakopam cha prasaram sthana samshayam vyaktim bhedam cha yo vetti sadoshanam bhaved visha. Sanchaya, Prakopa, Prasara, Sthana Samshaya, Vyakta and Bheda. So these are the 6 types of or 6 stages of Kriya Kala, wherein the description mentioned by Jagayada's commentary, Sthana Samshayanam Hetavo Vyadhi Hetavah. So that means the one Hetu are those which are responsible for Sthana Samshaya, they are considered to be Vyadhi Hetu. So that is the one type of the, what do you say, that one type of Trivida Hetu, that is Dosha Hetu, Vyadhi Hetu and Ubhaya Hetu. The examples given are Vyadhi Hetavo Yatha Mridbhakshanam Pandurogasya Karanam Yadyapi Mridapi Dosham Prakopayatyeva Yaduktam Charake Kashaya Marutam Piktam Ushara Madhurakafam iti Tathapi Tajjayi Doshai Panduroga Eva Arabhyate Natu Anyo Vikara iti Vyadhi Hetuta Bhavati. So if you split this, Vyadhi Hetavo Yatha Mrit Bhakshanam Pandurogasya Karanam Yad Api Mrid Api Dosham Prakopayati Eva Yad Uktam Charake Kashaya Marutam Piktam Ushara Madhura Kafam iti Tatha api tat jaihi tajjaihi doshaihi Panduroga eva arabhyate natu anyo vikara iti Vyadhi Hetuta bhavati. When you think about Vyadhi Hetu, this is the example given in Madhukosha. That means Mridbhakshana. Mridbhakshana means the eating the mud. It is the cause for Panduroga. So that means whenever if the person is doing the Mridbhakshana, they are considered to be Vyadhi Hetu. Straight away they are responsible for the manifestation of Panduroga. So that means, so the Mridbhakshana, so that will be responsible for the affliction of Rasadhatu. So Charaka Samhita says Kashaya Marutam Pittam Ushara Madhurakafam. In the sense, if the person is consuming Kashaya Rasa mud, the mud which is having Kashaya Rasa, so that may be responsible for the increase of Vata dosha in the body. So that means the Pandu that may be having the dominance of Vata dosha. If the person is consuming more amount of the Katu Rasa, that may be responsible for the increase of Pitta dosha in the body. If the person is consuming the mud which is having Madhura Rasa, so that may be responsible for increase of Kapha dosha in the body. So that means the person may be having Kaphaja Pandu. So regarding the other examples given are considered to be, what do you say, that the Sushruta Nidanasthana first chapter, Gayadasa commentary. Further examples are being given for Vyadhi Hetu. Viruddhashanam Kushtasya, Vishamashanam Yakshmanah, Ati Ashanam Ajirnasya, Mridbhakshanam Pandarogasya. 4 examples are being given. So, in the sense, Viruddhashanam Kushtasya, if the person is doing the Viruddhashana, that is considered to be the Vyadhi Hetu. So, that means if the person is doing the Viruddhashana, so that will be straight away that will be responsible for the Kushta Roga. So, the Vishamashana, so that will be responsible for the manifestation of Raja Yakshma. Atyashanam Ajirnasya. So, in the sense, if you look into the Viruddhashana, that means if the person is having the consumption of this unwholesome diet, that will be responsible for the inflammation to happen in the alimentary canal. When there is inflammation is specifically happening in the stomach, so that means that is responsible for the movement of the the inflammatory markers, that is regeneration inflammatory markers, which is responsible for the movement of the fluid into the alimentary canal because of from the stomach wall. So that is what we can say, and that will be responsible for the macromolecules to be present in the stomach, which may remain in the stomach for longer amount of time. Thereby these macromolecules, they are going to enter into the intravascular compartment. From there it will be entering into the interstitial compartment. From there it may be entering into the intracellular compartment of the skin. So Vishamashanam Yakshmanah. So if the person is doing Vishamashana, Vishamashana refers to the person may be consuming the variable amount of food, that too at variable amount of time. So the person may be consuming too early or too late. The person may consume very little amount of food, or the large amount of food the person may consume. So which in turn, which may be responsible for the Yakshma. So here Yakshma, most of the Ayurveda scholars, they are going to say Yakshma as tuberculosis. This itself is considered to be the misnomer. Whenever the Raja Yakshma, so that means there may be a possibility of Sarvadhatukshaya. What do you consider Sarvadhatukshaya in the sense what? If the person is doing the Vishamashana, if he is taking very less amount of food, what will happen? So the carbohydrate that will not be getting, that what we can say the glucose is not entering into the human body. In that particular sense, the person may have, fat metabolism starts to occur. When fat metabolism is occurring, so that will be considered to be responsible for nutrition deficiency disorders. So here the term Yakshma can be applicable to nutrition deficiency disorders. It's not the pulmonary tuberculosis or tuberculosis as such. Ati Ashanam Ajirnasya. Naturally, if the person is doing more amount of the Atyashana or large amount of at a particular time period, so that is the Vyadhi Hetu that may be responsible for the Ajirna itself. So if you look into that, we are going to look into the one application itself. So suppose, let us take the example of Atyashana. The Atyashana, if the person is doing Atyashana, naturally Ayurveda says the person has to consume up to 2/3 of the substance has to be consumed up to 2/3 of the stomach. So if the person is taking more amount of the food, suppose if the person is taking up to 9/10 of the stomach capacity, naturally, so that is responsible for the Ajirna itself. Suppose if the person is consuming more amount of the Madhura Rasa substances itself, so that may be responsible for Kapha dominant Ajirna itself. What we can say, it could be Amajirna. Suppose if the person is consuming more amount of the Katu Rasa substances, so that is responsible for the either Vidagdha Ajirna or Vishtabdha Ajirna. Why Vidagdha Ajirna? Tatradhyam Arutam Gunanti Restikta Daya Kafam Kashayatikta Madhuraha pittam anyetu kurvate. That means katu rasa substances which is responsible for increase of pitta dosha in the body. Thereby the person may have vidagdha jirna. Now how can you say the katu rasa is responsible for the manifestation of vishthabda jirna? Answer is lies in the same shloka. तत्राद्य मारुतं घ्रन्थि त्रयस्तिक्ताद्यैकः कषायतिक्तमधुराः पित्तम् अन्येतु कुर्वते. So that means the katu rasa, tikta rasa and kashaya rasa substances, they are going to responsible for the increase of vata dosha. In that particular sense, katu rasa ati sevana may be responsible for vishthabdha jirna. Now, how you are going to differentiate the person may have vishthabdha jirna or vidagdha jirna? Suppose if the person is consuming katu rasa substances, along with that if he is taking tishna ahara sevana, so that may be responsible for the manifestation of vidagdha jirna. Otherwise, if the person is consuming ruksha ahara along with katu rasa sevana, so that may be responsible for vishthabdha jirna. So likewise, the application of Vyadhi Hetu may be helpful in determining the exact disease manifestation in the body. What is required is, if you know about the source of entry of pathogen and number of pathogen and virulence of the pathogens, as such we need to know about it. If you want to know the exact application of this particular aspect, refer my topic which is being held earlier, the three major concepts that we need to that they concretize to learn the concept of Roga Nidana. So that is available in my previous video. So suppose if you look into the other examples as such, suppose if the person is taking more amount of the amla rasa ahara as such, so that is actually responsible for the the lower portion of the amasha that we can able to affliction can be observed. If the person is consuming or doing the vyayama along with amla rasa ahara, so that is actually responsible for the abnormal ahara rasa formation. How abnormal ahara rasa formation will be there? Naturally, if the person is doing the vyayama soon after consumption of the food, so that may be responsible for the increase of blood supply to the muscles, thereby the blood supply to the stomach or small intestine may be lessened. In that way, the abnormal rasa formation is going to take place. So that means, how abnormal rasa formation? Because the ahara consumption, thereby what actually happened is the abnormal blood circulation to the stomach, thereby so this is devoid of proper digestion. Macromolecules are being present in the stomach that cannot be converted into intermediate or macromolecules. In that way, the same will be moving into the small intestine, the macromolecules or intermediate molecules. The same may be entering into the large intestine. In that particular sense, the digestion may be impaired. In that way, so the rasa formation may be defective. In that way, abnormal rasa formation. Thereby, the rakta affliction may be possible. How rakta affliction can be possible? Because of doing the vyayama, what actually happens is the muscular activities are going to get increased, which is in turn responsible for the abnormal lactic acid formation. So thereby, the rakta affliction may be possible. And vidahi ahara, that means amla rasa are considered to be one of the things which are responsible for the vidahi ahara. So that is, vidaha means what? The person may be having burning sensation, or the person may be having trishna or the thirst formation, etc. And vidahi ahara is considered to be one of the essential nidana for rakta vaha sroto dushti as per Charaka Vimana 5th chapter. Thereby, if the person is doing the amla rasa ahara sevana, along with that if he is doing vyayama, along with that if he is doing vidahi ahara sevana, there may be a possibility of affliction of stomach or small intestine, thereby entry of macromolecules can happen into the intravascular compartment, one, or otherwise the macromolecules are directly entering into the stomach, from the stomach to small intestine to large intestine. Thereby the rakta affliction may be possible. The take home message from today's discussion is the Vyadhi Hetu are the Hetu which are actually coming into action during the Sana Samshaya Avastha. And the examples given for the Vyadhi Hetu are Viruddhashanam Kushtasya, Vishamashanam Yakshmanaha, Atyashanam Ajirnasya, Mridbhakshanam Pandurogasya. So, if you look into the further, if the person is doing the 2 or 3 Nidana Sevana together, there may be a possibility of the multiple, pathological event that can happen in the body. That is, if the person is doing Amla Rasa Ahara Sevana or Vidahya Ahara etc., the effects are usually being observed in the alimentary canal, and if the person is doing Vyayama etc., the results are we are going to observe in the either intravascular compartment or interstitial compartment or intracellular compartment. That's all for today. Dear ANA members, if you are what are the major key takeaways? Mention in the comment box from this video. And if you want to have the what would you like to have the discussion in the next video, mention below in the comment box. And if you are liking this particular video, put a thumbs up and spread this particular video to the maximum number of true Ayurveda learners. That's all for today. Thank you.